Okay, let's watch this while we're in the queue. I got Delta. It doesn't protect me against Omicron. Well, I did defeat Omega, so I think I know the strat against Omicron. If I do get that, I'll be okay. All right, are we ready? Are we ready? This video is from Bellular Gaming, and it is apparently going to tell us who is the real Yoshi-P. This is very interesting because I can't say that I know that much about Yoshi-P's private life. I know that he has a kid, and the last time I checked, his kid was playing Fortnite, but that was like a long time ago. And whenever I had my interview with Yoshi-P, I told him to tell his kid about the free trial for Final Fantasy 14, that it goes up to level 16 and includes the critically acclaimed expansion Heaven's Ward, and Yoshi-P said that he would let his son know about that. So assuming that Yoshi-P did tell his son that, there's a 100% chance that his son is like already level 90, right? Okay. But I mean, actually, you know, maybe Bellular knows something that I don't know. Maybe he knows about Yoshi-P's alter ego. Maybe Yoshi-P is actually, you know what's funny? I think if Yoshi-P was actually Superman on the side, like he takes off his glasses and he's Superman, like I think people would still be more impressed by the work that he does and has done on Final Fantasy 14. We'd be like, oh yeah, that's cool that you're Superman and all, but Yoshi-P, director, producer, Final Fantasy 14, you know? Okay, anyway, let's start the video. Let's just go.
Yoshi-P.
Yoshi-P.
Someone who really is being, well, made myth. I mean, he's talked about in such a way. The savior of Final Fantasy. A man celebrated for carrying the franchise out of the fire that the PlayStation 3 era left it in.
Yes.
He's not just Yoshi-P, subject of much internet worship. His actual name is Naoki Yoshida, and he's actually pretty humble about it all.
He is.
Which is a damn good sign, and more than anything, he is in fact just a guy. Pretty damn interesting
Wait,
one,
what?
actually. We did a little research. We found a lot more than we bargained for. Now, most of what today's video is really coming from is what we learned from the collection of his Famitsu columns, called Yoshida Uncensored. So, a very big shout out for Shinitan for translating them. Big hero. Let's start.
Look, I don't know how much I want to. I don't know how much I want to see.
By the most pressing question. Is he in fact a primal?
Uncensored.
Time to examine the evidence. A primal is, in essence, a concept given form through ether.
Wait, what?
A large enough collection of ether and a solid enough dream, wish, or idea, you can in fact give birth to life. Yoshida himself is a man formed of pure MMO love. He has played them religiously for decades.
He is a primal.
He managed to start even working on one, Dragon Quest X, and then inexplicably ended up leading FF14 to where it is today. Right when the players needed him most, he manifested. It's impossible to think about the plot of A Realm Reborn without thinking about it on a more metatextual level, comparing it to the game's development.
I like how he said that he just manifested. Yes, he appeared from our dreams and our hopes and our wishes to save the day.
The plot, you know, the prison of the 12, built with ether, gathered from across the world. It failed its duty, and Bahamut's might was brought to...
What is this? Who did this?
On Eorzea, then, all the cries for salvation and the prayers for rebirth, they took form, saving the world in the end. The real world... Naoki Yoshida was just an MMO-loving man, but in order to save FF14, he had to shoulder some of those hopes and dreams and, in a way, become Yoshi-P. That's, I think, why the people think the P might stand for primal.
Is that what
said,
the P stands
the
for?
man himself would far rather the P stood for player. He was actually asked about being a primal in the Endwalker media tour by Jesse Cox.
I remember that question.
And the answer was this.
I
always tell people...
Yeah, didn't he have a...
You guys are my friends, my comrades, and my family. I don't want you to think of me as a primal.
That's not a denial. That's exactly what a primal would say. If you're friends with a primal, wouldn't the primal be like, look, I don't want you to think of me as a primal. We're friends.
I mean, yeah, in a way, hero worship is not exactly something that the plotline of FF14 really supports. And by his own admission,
That's completely false. Because the hero is you. You are the warrior of light, and you are being hella worshipped by pretty much everybody. And I don't know how we're going to move forward. Okay, I'm not going to say anything about that.
Just a middle-aged man who really, really loves video games. So, how did all of this stuff end up happening? How did a regular enough guy's absolute love for MMOs lead him on a journey that would have so many look up to him and revere him so much?
Yes. How is he so good at what he does? Is he really just a regular guy? I think not. Is he really just a regular guy?
No, I think not.
Going almost 30 years back...
I'm kidding. Obviously, he's just a guy, but isn't he so great? Okay.
We've got this guy to thank, Yasumi Matsuno, specifically for creating this game. Yoshida has said before that Tactics Ogre let us cling together all the way back in 1995. That is the game that inspired him to build his career toward working on a game with Matsuno himself. While it's not an MMO, experiencing the world of Tactics Ogre and later Final Fantasy Tactics very much highlights how the world building of FF14 got its roots.
That's a good game.
To put it into words, it's European medieval fantasy focused on the personal impact of political intrigue.
It's hard.
There's another game then that inspired Yoshida heavily. It was a few years later, and it's one you might recognize. It was, of course, a groundbreaking entry from a young and promising company called Blizzard Entertainment.
Wait, what?
Sucked up a lot of young adult Yoshida's time. He tells the story of...
I remember when I bought Diablo at Walmart. I was really excited to play it. I brought it home, and my mom made me return it to the store because she said, Diablo, that's Satan! That's the devil's work! You take that back to Walmart right now! That's a true story. I had to return it because it said Diablo. And Diablo is Satan.
Eagerly awaiting the release of Diablo after seeing it in a
so
magazine,
sad.
but having to wait a long time because Blizzard delayed it
Satan.
repeatedly until they were satisfied with it as gamers themselves. He likened them to stubborn old men with too much pride, but it clearly worked because he and his colleagues played it for hours.
I don't remember this.
Stubborn old men with too much pride, but it clearly worked because he and his colleagues played it for hours and hours on their internal LAN, even skipping work to do so. This is in fact where his love and reverence for Blizzard games kicked off. He said many times he would love to work with Blizzard's...
Oh, I remember this. This is when the Blizzard, the WoW team sent over a congratulations for some kind of milestone that Final Fantasy 14 reached. I don't remember which milestone it was now. And that was a really wholesome moment where there's the Murlocs hanging out with the Chocobos and the Moogles. So, that's what I love to see. This is what I really love to see. These are two games that I love a lot. Or at least
someday. And of course, he has
two games that have changed my life.
BlizzCon. He really has been pretty much a lifelong fan, and
Crossover
he
when?
always makes it clear that A Realm Reborn would not exist without World of
Crossover
Warcraft.
event when?
But Diablo and Blizzard was just a stepping stone. What it really did was start a lifelong affair with the entire genre of online games. Like many of us, he did not just dabble in MMOs. He lived MMOs. In fact, he loves them so much, he confessed to having 4 separate ISP
One does not simply dabble in an MMO. At least I don't. I never did.
contracts at once, so that he could actually just swap his connections in case one service's routing resulted in packet loss to foreign game servers. Seriously, this guy, he was serious. 4 different connections.
He was seriously serious.
Of all his MMO exploits, though, Dark Age of Camelot was the most vicious. For the 6.5 years he played it, he says it was a lifestyle, right down to skipping meals just to play more. Kind of ironically, he started playing
MMO
Camelot
junkie.
because he got too addicted to EverQuest, and he wanted to play a game that, well, would eat up less of his time.
Wait,
He actually ended up playing Camelot so much that when he met someone from the development team while working on FF14, they actually remembered his Camelot character.
oh, what?
Right? And that's just from how much PvP he did. A
What?
lot of PvP. One anecdote from Yoshi-P Uncensored
He was a-
really, really does stand.
Wait, he was a PvP god? And one of his enemies he ended up working with? I didn't know that. Oh, hey, Chicken Joy Bok Bok, thanks for the 5 gift subs in the chat. Appreciate it. Imagine getting hired to work somewhere and your boss, who crushed you in PvP, your PvP nemesis, is the one who's signing your paycheck now.
Out.
Wow.
At a very small company. He
But
worked
it's
for in the
Yoshi-P,
past.
so you can't even be mad about
He
it.
was working around 14 hours a day doing the work of multiple roles. His boss, out of pity, according to Yoshida, let him bring his own PC in so that he could research other MMORPGs while he was on the clock. Now, he said it was like a dream, working away, of course, but being able to swap to his other PC whenever he spotted a rare mob spawn. He'd only have to log out for 30 minutes to make his way home, and then he could get right back to the game. The anecdotes
He brought his personal PC to work so that he could work while also looking for a rare mob out the corner of his eye. Was he farming TLPD at work? And then he said, oh, I'm doing research, an MMO research.
littered throughout his columns show that he's had every experience an MMO vet could have. He met friends from Diablo in Ultima Online, and as their guildmaster, he got viciously scammed. He was trying to sell 2 weeks' worth of mining materials, which was enough to buy a house for the guild, but he fell for a very basic Ultima Online scam. See, in Ultima Online, you had to hover over a pile of gold to see how much gold it was. The pile of gold icon could actually mean anything from 6 gold to 60,000 or more, just any number greater than 6.
Okay.
Now, he did what was right the first time. He confirmed. He hovered over. 64,000 gold. It was there. But then the buyer misclicked the cancel button. So then they tried to do the trade again. But this time, he was so excited to get the money to buy his guild a house that he forgot to check how much gold was in the pile of gold. He got a measly 6 gold. Thankfully, he vented his frustrations to a Japanese Ultima Online forum, and then the leader from
Who
a
scammed
huge
Yoshi-P?
guild reimbursed him and even gave him a set of armor
Who scammed Yoshi-P? You better hope nobody finds out. It was you,
that he
person,
treasured for the
who
rest
did it.
of his Ultima Online time. Then there was the time he roleplayed as a female caster in Dark Age of Camelot, kneeling and saying, "Thanks, my knight." So
Wait.
tank players. who
Wait,
cover
wait,
him
wait,
in
wait,
thumb.
wait, wait, what?
He roleplayed as a female.
Wait, 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 wait,
There
wait,
was
wait,
the
wait. We can't skip past that.
Time he roleplayed as a female caster in Dark Age of Camelot, until one of his regular allies thought he actually was a girl. And
You know, I actually, I did a lot of roleplay myself back in World of Warcraft. In addition to the raiding that I did, I played on Moonguard, and I was constantly doing roleplay. I was in several different roleplay guilds, so like I know. I remember actually our server had like a chat. I think it was IRC chat where people on Horde and Alliance could communicate with each other, and I would role play with the trolls. Opposite fact. Okay, it doesn't matter. I don't need to get into this.
it got very awkward very fast.
Wait.
So after access, allies thought he actually was a girl, and it got very awkward very fast.
His allies thought he was actually a girl. Hey, Cell, what kind of Japanese girls do you like? As I was deciding how to reply, D cut in and said, why are you making a girl answer what type of girl she likes? What? A girl? The hell are you talking about? Awkwardness swept over the chat. Cecilia's a girl, right? A Japanese high school girl. No. So, oh, it's Celissa. It's not Cecilia. That was his character's name. Celissa it's Yoshi-P. It's the alter ego.
So after accidentally breaking a young man's heart, Yoshida decided to stop role-playing. Surprisingly enough, he claims to still be in touch with most of the people in these
Wait.
Surprisingly enough, Yoshida decided to fast. So after accidentally breaking a young man's heart, Yoshida decided to stop role-playing. Surprisingly enough,
he stopped role-playing after they found out that he wasn't a Japanese high school girl. Is that right? Am I misunderstanding it? Or is that...
He claims to still be in touch with most of the people in these stories from his column. And with a variety of experiences like that, I think it's no wonder he loves MMOs so much. But he's not just about MMOs.
Okay.
So who is Yoshi-P? It's hard to get a complete picture. As far as we know, of course, he works, he plays FF14, and we really do know that he actually plays a hell of a lot of the game for fun. He does some interesting philosophizing on how to structure work, and how to work when you don't feel like working in column 49. And he uses here a very specific example. He started writing the column just after midnight, 12 hours before the deadline, because instead of doing it the day before as he had planned, he actually just went and cleared some Alexander Savage fights instead.
Oh.
And even while writing the column later that night, he was just fighting the urge to log in and do Thordan Extreme. So he really does seem to be the FF14 man then, except when he does things like take days off work to go snowboarding. And that's something he's really invested in. In a few
Wow, I
columns,
didn't know that.
he talks about how he always has his gear ready once the winter rolls around. And this even includes his second car that always has a snowboard rack and always has its snow tires on. He does nothing in half measures, that's very much for sure. He tries to snowboard 10 to 20 times a year, and when he doesn't half-ass it, he does a full day. He's out the door at 5 a.m., and he carves up the slopes until the slopes close.
Wow.
Beyond that, well, he really is all about games and movies.
That's pretty
awesome.
awesome.
He has a tradition of rewatching
snowboarding is really hard. It is not easy.
the Matrix trilogy every new year.
Wait,
Purely
what?
because he just really likes them, so I suppose it was awfully nice of America to release the fourth movie this Christmas. just in
Oh,
time
man, I
for
love
him.
this guy.
The other
He's so cool. What is there not to love about Yoshi-P? Seriously. Like, hell yeah, let's watch The Matrix. It's New Year's. I watch it every year for around 10 years now. First of all, it's almost unbelievable how they're able to turn the theme of, can you prove that the real world you believe in is truly real in entertainment for the general public? Well, if you play Final Fantasy XIV enough, you start to feel like that's the real world. And like the other stuff is the Matrix.
for him. The other pillar, then, that seems to comprise his hobbies, is the humble mystery novel. He loved reading them so much in his younger years that he actually believes that mystery novels destroyed his eyesight. The romantic idea of reading a foreign classic mystery novel in a dimly lit room was just too appealing to him, so he read one almost every night when he was in middle school. He said that he likens it to being in a female classmate's room on a school trip. So you know he means business. We have a whole video, actually, on his love of mystery novels and what that actually has meant for FF14, so check out that video on the channel for a bit more of that. After how Endwalker is clearly written, I think the video also hits a little bit different too, so maybe we'll have to do a follow-up. Anyway, there's enough to talk about with Yoshida for hours. So we'll end with just one more segment on him as a person.
Honestly,
And that is
I've learned so much.
his weaknesses.
He's still human.
Some people try to puff up their chest and not let anybody know that they have weaknesses. Maybe they'll even deceive themselves into thinking they don't have weaknesses.
Not me.
That's certainly not him, though. Because all credit to him, he is in fact very upfront with the things that he doesn't like. Things like that. As an example, he's actually terrified of flying. So going abroad is actually a pretty awful experience for him, but it's something he puts up with for obviously business and meeting the players.
Oh.
And this is where his enjoyment of movies actually comes in, because he can just go and watch movies, between work and flights.
So
to
he
help
fights
get him
his
through it.
fear of flying so he can come and see us at FanFest.
Another one of his weaknesses that ties into this, as he says, is that now that he's getting a bit older, he says his tear glands are loose.
Wait,
I
what?
don't really know if I would consider it to be a weakness. When he watches movies or read books, he ends up feeling he can relate to them on a sort of personal level so much now that he's older that he just cries a lot. And he says in the column that it's gotten so bad that he actually now worries about reading books when he travels in case he embarrasses himself.
Look, you gotta cut him some slack on that. This is a guy that has to test. He had to test Shadowbringers. He had to test Endwalker in every patch to make sure, you put somebody in that situation enough times, and it's just, I feel you. It's like how I was after I finished Endwalker. I was just, very sensitive. I'm still,
This even happened to him on a plane. He was watching the movie Creed. Creed, of all things. And the themes of the relationship between Adonis and Rocky left him crying so much that the flight attendant had to check if he was okay.
Damn.
But you know what? It's hardly a surprise given that
Yoshi-P,
there's quite a few
don't
tearjerkers
cry.
in FF14.
Don't cry.
So I don't consider this sort of thing to be a weakness at all.
It's not a weakness.
Oh,
That's not a
also his
weakness.
eyesight is shit.
Wait.
Hey, that's two of us. Ever see him constantly take his glasses on and off? Well, apparently his eyesight has diminished horribly because, of course, of age, work, and how much he reads. But also for him, the nature of contact lenses and LASIK
Wait a minute.
just scares him too much. He reads.
My fatigue has been showing on my face lately to the point where my assistant told me, you should wear your glasses because you look better with them on. That's so mean. That's so mean. Are you serious? I disagree. He looks fine. If he gets a normal amount of sleep. Okay? Let's just sleep. How about sleep a little more?
But also for him, the nature
That's
of
so
contact
rude.
lenses and LASIK just scares him too much to even try.
Yeah,
honest,
I'm scared
the
of
exact
LASIK too.
same.
I'm not going to do that.
I know laser eye surgery could be great, but I don't really like the idea of the front of my eye being sliced open and there being a little eye flap.
What? Is that what they do? No. No. Is that really what happens? They slice your eye and put an eye flap? Don't tell me that. That hurts to think about.
I totally get it. It's a pretty spooky thing.
Oh.
He doesn't even like wearing glasses because he says they make him look too serious. Now, we sort of think he comes from a
That's
bit of
so
an era
cute.
where, glasses were kind of like for the nerds in school.
Oh my gosh,
and
that's so
maybe something
cute.
that stuck with him a bit. A bit more related to his job.
He doesn't
You
look
might
too
not
serious.
notice this from watching him lately, but actually, he suffers horribly from stage fright. For a long time, taking the stage to present his game was a terrifying ordeal, stemming from a bad experience that he had presenting at school. For two examples, giving a talk to students in Mexico and addressing the crowd at the Orsian Symphia, every time he is trembling with fear until something reminds him that he's just speaking to a crowd of people who are just like him. In Mexico, it was a woman hugging him excitedly. And at the symphony, it was one guy yelling his name and the entire crowd joining in.
We gotta yell his name. Anytime we see him now, doing a speech, doing a keynote address or anything as soon as he gets on stage. Oh, I think we're doing that anyway. But just to make sure
He
you say,
firmly believes that
Yoshida!
FF14 players are the real warriors of light and share with
Say
him
my
the
name. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yoshida.
echo whenever he needs it most.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a nice little analogy for that feeling and how it can just propel somebody and help them get over their stuff. And really, that's about it for as much as we can fit into this video. There's a lot of Yoshida Uncensored. He has a very interesting history. And it's kind of nice to know more about the man. And if you enjoyed this, we will make some more because
I
while
enjoyed
we
it
talked
so
a bit
much.
more about the man himself.
This
he's
was
also
such a good
businessman.
video.
He's also an experienced director, an experienced producer, and actually a pretty deep thinker.
Wow.
On top of that,
I learned
there
so
are
much.
a ton of insights about FF14's various struggles and general game development.
Hell yeah.
We could do a deep look into the past work. So if anything there sounds appealing, be it the history of Yoshi-P, what we can learn from Yoshi-P, let us know. We'll get right to it. Till then, though, I hope you found this to be interesting. I hope we're able to help humanize the man himself. And I'll see you next time.
Wow. So he's just a really cool guy. He's a really cool guy who loves Final Fantasy 14 as much as we do. I mean, there's not a whole lot to it. I really appreciate the detail about how he likes to watch The Matrix every year. I love The Matrix. That's so cool. But he is, yeah, I mean, he's very good at what he does, and he has a really good heart. And also the detail about how he's like, sort of wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's quick to feel emotion strongly. I think that's something to be proud of, really. And what a guy. I'm so glad that he's our game director.